Welcome to Confident Connections, the podcast that helps you show up with confidence and connect with people on a deeper level. I'm Lisa Liu, and here we break down the small signals that create big impact. Body language, presence, and the simple habits that help you communicate with ease, increase your influence, and magnify your impact. You'll learn how to make strong first impressions, build trust faster, and feel more confident in any conversation or setting. If you're ready to improve your communication skills and create connections that move your life and your leadership forward, you are in the right place. I've got a fantastic resource for you that is completely free and is really going to help you, especially if you've ever felt awkward with meeting someone new, or maybe you just want to know how to make the person across from you feel seen, valued, and understood, especially if you've never met them before. Or maybe you just want to get out of the people pile. You want to be memorable instead of just saying, hey, what do you do for a living? Which is what everybody says, totally forgettable. Maybe you want some new ways to engage. This is my How Not to Be Awkward conversation starters, and it is going to span professional and networking events that you may go to, connecting with empathy, and even transitioning into deeper talk. There's also a great little pocket connection card that you can just snapshot to keep on your phone and use right before you head in to a situation where you just want to have some great conversation starters, literally in the palm of your hand and in your pocket. If this sounds interesting to you, I want you to go to lisaluimpact.com/connection. You'll also find this down below in the show notes, completely free to you, lisaluimpact.com/connection. Welcome back to the Confident Connections podcast. So last week, we took a deep dive on our D-styled personality, driving, direct, decisive, how to communicate with a D-wired person. If you are D-wired, maybe some areas for growth and some really amazing characteristics about D-style. So if you didn't hear that podcast episode, it would be a great idea to go back and listen to that. And if you go back 2 episodes, then you'll get to hear the overview of what we're discussing over these few weeks, which is the DISC personality and behavioral style and why it matters and why it's important that you're even listening to this. Okay, so today we're diving into I. So D, I, S, and C. Last week was D. This week is I. I is for influencing. So your I-wired people, I'm going to give you some of their characteristics, but let me give you the emoji. I gave you the emoji last week, a medal for Ds, because Ds love to win. They love a challenge. The little emoji for the I would be a microphone. So here's some characteristics of your I-wired friends, one of which is your host right here. I'm very highly I-wired. Talkative, optimistic, encourages others, fun to be around, very social, enthusiastic, persuasive, extroverted, optimistic, energetic, and encourages collaboration. So if that sounds like you, welcome to the club. If it sounds like a friend of yours, great. Maybe you're going to understand them a little bit differently. So let me go into the limitations. So where can we as high I-wired people grow a little bit? So you may not be high I-wired. Maybe you're hearing this and you're thinking, I have a little bit of that. Let me remind you, we all have some of all of these in us, okay? It's just which ones do we operate in maybe more than others. So just kind of think about, oh, you know what? I feel that one more strongly than this, but in this environment, I feel like this over here. That's very normal. Okay, so some limitations for I's: impulsive, disorganized, lack of follow through. So those are some areas that we need to grow. This is where some great personal growth and development can come in so that we can just be a healthier version of ourselves. Some of the needs of an I-wired person would be collaboration. We love people, so we love to collaborate. Friendliness, stimulating environment, encouraging environment, I-wired people like variety and flexibility. So remember last week we talked about your Ds. They're faster movers. They tend to be a bit more outgoing and faster movers, but they are more task-oriented than people-oriented. Well, your I-wired people are very people-oriented, more so than task-oriented, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. Some motivations of an I-wired person would be social recognition, self-expression, and social relationships. If you're a team leader and you have an I on your team, giving them that space to be social, if you have a way of pulling that in, there's always a way to pull it in. Sometimes you just have to be a little bit more creative. You're going to get the best out of them. Some fears and limitations, or irritations rather, for our I-wired person: social rejection. I's do not Nobody likes to be rejected, but it is a core fear of an I, okay? Routine and being ignored. So these are things to be very mindful of if you are dealing with an I-wired person. So how to communicate? How do you communicate with your I-wired friends? Allow them the opportunity to share their ideas. Keep the conversation fun. Don't overwhelm them with too much data. Expect to follow up with them. Remember that I-wired can be a little bit disorganized. Expect to follow up with them. It doesn't mean that's an excuse. It doesn't mean we don't grow through that, but expect to follow up with them. And provide short, concise information in a friendly way. If all we did was cover the D and the I, can you see how understanding how another person is wired differently than you can help you so much in your communication? Remember, your D is direct. They're decisive. They can come across as very assertive. Well, if you have an I-wired person that has a fear of rejection and your D is only or mostly working within their directness, that can really be a strain on the relationship. So that's why understanding the person sitting across from you is so incredibly important. I worked with a realty company a few months back, and we went through all of this in depth, and it was so much fun to hear them come back, and after showing a home, or when they were about to show a home to someone, they were able to get an idea. Are they more of a D, an I, an S, or a C? And they understood better how to show up for that person, the kind of information to give them, how much information to give them, to what extent, right? Understanding how the person across from us, whether it's in sales, whether it's just in relationship, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a spouse, it can do nothing but serve us well, because then we begin to understand them better and we can meet them where they are. And what do we always say here? People just want to be seen, heard, valued, and understood. That, to me, is the leadership definition of charisma. So if we want to be a more charismatic person, one of the best ways we can do that is to get to understand the human being sitting across from us. Because we often stick a label on somebody's head. They're just difficult. Are they difficult, or are they just different than us? It can be hard sometimes to have relationships with people who are different than us, but that is the beauty of a team. We don't want everybody thinking exactly like we do, because then our ideas are never challenged and the organization or the relationship doesn't move very far. Okay, that's it for today. Listen again if you need to. Send this to an I-wired friend. They are going to feel so seen, to be like, oh my gosh, I thought about you. This reminds me of you. You've got these character traits. So awesome. Like, make them feel amazing. Send this to them and they're going to feel so seen by you. Thank you for being here. Next week, we're going to cover the S-wired person. That stands for steady, steady. We love our steady friends. So we're going to understand more about them, how they tick, their limitations, their characteristics, their needs, motivations, fears as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to come back next week as we move along our DISC personality style. All right, I will see you then.